Well, guys, we do know of one of the Player of the Month winners that's coming up here in the next just few days, and that one is Erling Haaland. He has indeed won the Prem Player of the Month for the month of September. So we're going to talk about what the card might look like, what the price might be, will it do anything to the market, etc., etc. We do have the Team of the Week leaked, and it does look a lot better. The stats, actually, we only have for a couple cards, but the cards themselves we know are going to be a bit better than last week. So that's nice to see. Plus, is today Icon Day? It could be. We had the hero upgrade a week from today last week, plus we now have the icon embellishment in the cosmetic section. It might be once again the day for an icon upgrade now. There is no pack right now leaked in the store, and the hero upgrade actually was leaked by now, so there's a chance that it actually does not come out, but there's also a chance EA just adds it a few hours before content. They have done that with some packs before. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to mmoxp.com. There will be a link in the top of the description. They're the safest and the cheapest option, and you can use my code JFC at checkout for an 8% discount. But we'll discuss some of that as well. And guys, yesterday we got hella likes and comments, and the video did very well, and that's all thanks to you guys, so thank you so much for doing that. Also, a little tidbit back-end YouTube stuff. If you guys didn't know this, if you actually watch YouTube on a browser with an ad blocker on, your view does not count now. I think it's been a thing for like the last few months. So now technically the view counts that you see on anybody's video across YouTube are the monetizable views. YouTube has been making so many changes recently, it's ridiculous. But anyway, let's move on here to the 5x80 plus upgrade that came out today, because I don't know if EA realizes this, but we do not have the facilities for this kind of SBC. We just don't have it. An 84 or higher, plus an 82 overall squad, like we can probably all do that, but it's a 5x80 back that you might not even get an 84 in. This is just a pure gamble upgrade, and like we can't afford just gamble upgrades right now. We don't have fodder. We have all these great Player of the Months coming out that we maybe can hopefully attempt to somehow craft over like a 30-day period. Definitely can't do it right away. I mean, nobody has the ability, besides the huge money spenders, of course, to just crank one of these out quick. Pause. But yeah, it'll be funny from EA's point of view, seeing how many people will be completing SBCs. Like, for example, the hero upgrade that was over here, right? This one was not very expensive. I expect the icon to also not be that expensive. It might even be something similar to this, honestly, because they do know we don't have much fodder, so they do price some things knowing that, but we can't really do like just these little 5x80s anymore. You know, we don't have the cards anymore to do that kind of thing. So dropping that SBC would have totally been fine if the requirements, for example, is like an 80 rated squad, maybe one above 82, right? That is way more reasonable than an 84 needed plus an 82 rated squad. Like, that is not reasonable. If you're going to make rewards a little bit worse, which we've been pretty okay with, but you got to change SBC requirements then a little bit. You got to have some sort of compromise here, which they've been doing in some ways, but then in random ways like that, it's like, what? And you want to know what's funny with the store packs and stuff right now too? This might be a total coincidence, but I think it's hilarious because, you know, people did not like the 100k packs coming out, right? They did not like that at all. And they made a statement saying, like, you know, we're making sure we're going to slow things down a bit. And guess what? Since then, there's been no pack over 100k, but there's been one that's 90k, you know? See, it's not 100k, and we're not at 100k packs yet. Don't worry. Like, it makes me think this was priced higher than this, and they said, ooh, let's actually make that 90k. That might be total nonsense. It's just funny, like, seeing EA's PR team at work, you know? But okay, let's start with the biggest news, obviously, of today, and that's Erling Haaland was announced that he won Player of the Month. We'll kind of go into the market stuff intermittently with the leaks and news today, so timestamp bros, I apologize. Not gonna know how to timestamp this one, but Haaland wins it. And the funny thing is, actually, is that we're gonna have Serie A and Bundesliga according to the schedule, which is tentative. Serie A and Bundesliga are actually gonna be first by just one day, and it should be tomorrow that we get Serie A and Bundesliga, and then the next day actually is Erling Haaland. So I'm assuming at some point tonight we'll hear about Harry Kane and Christian Pulisic. They're the pretty obvious winners. And flashbang warning, I'm sorry here, the tracker, yes, does say Thursday, and Friday, and the Liga and winner not until 11 days after that. But yeah, the schedule's been like pretty much spot on for the last year, but there are like random quirks where SBCs get released a day or two later. So I count on these two being Thursday and this one being Friday, but just say over the weekend at the absolute latest, all three will be out. Also, these stats are not official right here, by the way. We can only guess what the upgrades are going to be on a card like this. Now, the thing with the Haaland card specifically is that he actually already has an inform. So how they price this will be very interesting, or not how they price this, sorry, but what boost boost they give him will be very interesting, because usually in years past, like later on into the game, you see boosts past the previous inform. So you would see Erling Haaland go to 88 pace, 93 shot, 82 dribbling. And I personally think we will see just a few +1s from this. So maybe like a +1 dribbling, +1 pace, which is actually, I think, exactly what, no, it's +1 passing as well. Exactly what this card is here is a pretty good prediction to me as to what this card is going to look like. And it'll be priced probably around 5 to 6 to 700K is what we can probably expect. Probably doesn't gain any playstyle. No extra weak foot boost would be my guess. Mbappe's playstyle plus did actually change, so there could be a change from low driven plus, which could then make his card cheaper. That's a possibility as well. If maybe they give him power shot plus, then they can make that card cheaper. And then with that, we have Pulisic and Kane, obviously. And if we go and look at them right now, you know, how does this card look? Pulisic also has a team of the week card, right? So this card's shorter than 13K. Maybe add a +1 to dribbling and shooting and then leave it. Probably going to be 300K, right? Something along those lines. Could even be higher depending on some other boosts they give him. And then Harry Kane, who also has an inform, by the way. Harry Kane's 148,000. They might boost his card a little higher because he's got some stats to boost up, like pace, for example. But my guess is 150 to 200K. So point is, Kane and Pulisic, you could afford if you work towards it and grind it over the course of 30 days. And considering all of this stuff, let's go look at fodder right this very second. So as we talked about, cards are pretty much staying steady. 88s have gone down like by maybe 1,000 or so. 87s are the ones that are really rising right now. And because they're rising so much, if I had to guess, these will be needed in these cards, because I think there's probably some leakers out there who know what the card looks like and maybe even know some requirements and can say, hey, 87 squads, like what this is going to be. Because 87s are starting to rise up quite a bit. If we look at the graph down here and go down to 3 days, we've got today he's been the most consistently above 9,500 that we've seen over the last couple days. And I think the funny thing actually is here is that I'm totally cool with buying 85s. I think 85s will be an awesome buy. I think 86s will be a really good buy too, probably. I know they're already up right now. And tomorrow's Rivals Rewards, there is some tradable supply on the way. We should probably know by then, though, what the cards will look like, and there'll be more just general knowledge about these cards coming out. There already is a lot of knowledge, but there will be even more in 24 hours from now. But the reason I think 85s are the safest buy here is because there's room here. There's a lot of room between 85s and 86s. And then 88s are probably also the safest. I think 88s and 85s are the best ones to buy if you're going to buy them today. The biggest thing with this, obviously, is that do people have enough coins and just do they have the wants to go after these cards? And will people go and like want to complete it immediately? Of course, some people will, but how many? Because this is a different kind of market and year. I think there's a chance that fodder does not rise as much as you think it might with all these cards coming out, because people just don't have the coins to go and do all this stuff. Obviously, there's going to be money spenders who have the facilities, and then in that case, you know, it's going to rise to a certain degree, of course. I just think the rise might not be as much as you expect it to be. I think it'll go to like 15K, 88s could. A little higher than that, best case scenario, probably. And of course, if the icon pack comes out today and you actually need an 87 rated squad or an 86 rated squad, you're going to see all fodder rise up, and you can't really buy it then prior to these Player of the Month cards coming out. So right now probably is your time to buy fodder, even though it's already up. I think there's kind of no way, unless the icon pack does not come out, because it is not leaked right now, but we're assuming it'll probably come out. This might be your last chance to buy like these 88s and 85s. I just went before the video started actually and went and bought some, but it's less certain than I think some people are making it out to be, because people just don't have coins. So I'm buying it tentatively, speculatively. I don't love it. Like sometimes, you know, I love fodder investing. It's kind of like my bread and butter. I'm curious to see what happens. I'm hopeful for it, but I don't know if it'll go up to just like ridiculous heights. And then will we see any selling with all these Player of the Month cards? If one's priced at an exorbitantly cheap price, yes, but otherwise probably not. The coins will just be a lot. Like there's not going to be a lot of people who are going to be able to do them really quickly. So probably not going to see any immediate selling unless one's really cheap, which I would doubt. But link investments you actually could do. You could go out and if you want to, you could go and buy a Milan link investment like a Leao, right? But now he's already up right now, I think. Leao is sitting here at 48,000. If you look at his graph last 3 days, he was down at like 40K. The market wasn't panic at that point. I think there's some investors investing in here. But if Pulisic happens to be like somewhat affordable, he's going to go up like crazy. But also it's an 84 rated card with a promo coming on Friday. I don't love that. But link investment investments for these guys might do really well. Same with the Bayern ones. If Harry Kane's not expensive, I would definitely expect to see some Bayern cards go up. I haven't really seen their prices to check if they already have. Let's just check out a Bayern card. I'm trying to think of like a Kimmich, right? Like what's Joshua Kimmich at right now? He's 35.75. I think that's right about normal, honestly. He's up a decent amount from where his lowest point was, but the market was down during that point. 31,000 here just a day or two ago. So people are buying him right now. If this card drops like to the lower 30s in the next 24 hours or so before Kane comes out, I definitely look at buying him. Unless Kane's 300k, of course, and he's not rising. But if they make one of these cheap, which I think they're going to make one of these like not cheap, but not crazy expensive, you'll probably see some links rise there. And also, guys, US managers too could see a bit of a bump if Pulisic is not crazy expensive. Okay, we do have Team of the Week leaks now. We have one official card only, and that's Caicedo. So Caicedo gets power shot plus for his goal, 74 pace, 67 shooting. Okay, this is where I would love, and I know I'm nitpicking here, I'd love for EA to make him 80 shooting and then have his other promo cards be lower, right? This inform then is like different and special. Now, the only difference is power shot plus, which he's going to have decent long shots with 67 shooting. He'll have probably like in the 80s long shots, but long shots don't go in like they used to. Long shots don't mean as much. I think this is where you have opportunities to make a special flavor of cards, and they don't do that. I don't really get that part. They kind of do it with the power shot plus, like you're almost there, but you didn't finish the job. Still going to be a very good card, I'm sure, but could have been cooler. You know, could have been a bit cooler. And here's the full Team of the Week here. Let's go and zoom in and take a look at it. There are no official stats, just predictions, so just the names that will be in Team of the Week. We do have Kouassi, nice quick step plus card. Obviously, Vinicius is in, which is going to be a very expensive card. Vinny, Caicedo, Bruno Guimaraes, Luis Diaz makes it in. But Kouassi, Lavelle, like that, the Women's American League gets even better. Who else is in here? Besho makes it in. Veerman, Jordi Alba makes it in. Bonnie from Inter does make it in as well. How tall is Bonnie? I forgot how tall this guy is, because I do think, guys, low key, I do think there'll be a bit of a time this year where tall strikers, he's 6'2", okay? That was like 6'5" or 6'6", where tall strikers are kind of meta again. I know dribbling is better, but headers are pretty good actually. And also you can head it down so easily in the box because the marking is not as tight as previous years. So heading it down in the box is really easy. I'm curious to see how much the quote unquote meta changes as like the weeks go on, because I think once somebody masters this, like heading it down with the tall striker in the box, it's going to be definitely an interesting one. And the rest of the team down here, not much interesting, but we don't know card stats yet, so could be some sleeper gem in here. But yeah, it's full Team of the Week, and it's better than last week, so that's nice. I do like the Team of the Weeks. They're more valuable so far than previous years. I'd personally love to see some bigger boosts in these lower end cards. I think that, I know they want some like Evo fodder, and that's important for them. But if you go back to look at the last Team of the Week, like there's some players that you can just make a bit better. I mean, there's just no reason not to. Like Pagi striker card here. I mean, 80 pace, 80 shooting, 83 dribbling. I know you need some fodder Team of the Weeks, right? But 87 pace instantly makes him just interesting for Evos, like just immediately. One small change like that made him just slightly more interesting. And then for example, Igor Thiago, 84 dribbling, because why not? They did do with some cards here for sure. I do want to give them their credit where credit is due sometimes, but they could just do a little bit better job. Like Uzun right here, 32 defending center mid, 75, like you could do better, right? Make him interesting. Just make these cards a little more interesting, but I guess that's just too much to ask. And we did get a FUT Sheriff tweet on ratings reload. So what we already knew were these two bullet points right here, the upgrades to ratings based on the feedback. Also, there's no downgrades, of course, only upgrades. That was a new information, but we did already kind of know that too, because they're not gonna be like, yeah, actually he should be worse. And if they play FIFA, they see themselves in a promo, it's like, oh yeah, you were here because we actually think you should be lower rated. But we'll probably see the first team leaks tomorrow, if I had to guess. And last thing here, we did get our first look at the sales copies for FC26. It has sold 10 million copies across all platforms, with PlayStation accounting for about 60%. And I tried to look back at last year's numbers to see what the difference was, if last year sold more or less. I wasn't able to find any through the first 10 days. So if I'm able to find something with that, I will, talk about it in tomorrow's video. But last year, the game actually sold pretty well. And then just the biggest fall off, it's like November happened, and it was no bullshit the biggest fall off in November in a game's history, or in a FIFA's history, right? The numbers were so bad. I looked at the Steam charts, by the way, on FC26, and numbers like slightly above FC25, but it really wasn't that so noticeable that it was worth really talking about. So just curious to see with the new way of marketing for them, where it's like, hey, this game's for you, we're doing things for you, how much does that help them? But all right, let's read some of your comments now. We got, ironically, Masturbator after yesterday's request from me, and then he says his size right here. Okay, you know what? The comments comments were unhinged yesterday, by the way. It was an absolute shit show in there. And I was reading all of them and I was cracking up the whole night. But he does say it may be a pump and dump, but my God, is she good. I got 11 wins with her as my star player most games. And the thing with that is I saw a couple traders say, like, you guys don't get how supply and demand works. Like, the traders didn't do this. And it's like, well, first of all, obviously we know how supply and demand works. That's all trading is. I mean, that's 95% of it, considering there's some other factors, but a lot of the time it's supply and demand. Like, that's it. So obviously that's not what we don't understand. I don't think anyone's saying it's a straight up pump and dump because she wouldn't have held her value, right? Obviously not. But to say there wasn't outside influence like Twitter, like TikTok, YouTube, the hype for this card was so crazy and it's a bit artificial. Like, it is a bubble that's probably going to pop here at some point. There was definitely some outside help, like, no doubt about it. She doesn't go from 5K to 100K without some outside help. That's impossible. So yes, obviously one of the most demanded cards in the game. So she's going to go up a lot, but a lot of that demand is stemmed from outside sources and people trying to really push this card. But she is obviously very, very good and was obviously 5K was I mean, she was never going to be that price. We got Sumya Jeet. I apologize once again. I was mad yesterday because of FOMO. Just ends there. Don't be, okay? Don't let FOMO dictate your experience, please. Not good. Next up, Daniel Sempere, who says, hey, nice video. Thank you. I love you. I'll sum up the first, like, few sentences here. Basically saying he saved his FC points for the pre-order bonus, and he can afford every season pass now because they technically gave us, like, 6 season passes for free. Not for free. You did pay $30 extra to get the game early, plus do that, but they are giving you enough points to get 6 season passes for technically free. I do think that is true to an extent. Like, you could just save your points and then you wouldn't have to worry about the price of them. So EA did technically give us that, but at the same time, not everybody pre-ordered the game. You know, like, not everybody has those FC points. That price point, especially if you didn't pre-order the game, is absurd with coins. I think you make sense what you're trying to say here for sure. Like, there is truth to that. I just think still, even despite that, it's still wildly overpriced. And the other thing you say down here with the Evos is that I would love to get them for free, but I think EA also wants their profit. So they're giving you good players, and if you want to upgrade your favorites, then you pay. I won't spend in the game, but I'm completely okay that there is some content behind a paywall. And I agree that there's going to be content behind a paywall. Like, there's going to be, right? Like the Evos being paid. I don't care really about the Evos being paid that much. I know that there's a necessity to certain paid evolutions, like, absolutely, but they need to be justified if they're going to be that expensive. You know, if they're 30K and they're bullshit, like that 10K plus 1 passing, come on. I mean, what are we doing here? And I also understand the whole, like, well, if you want to upgrade your favorite players, and that obviously that inherently, that's more valuable to you than the market card is. So technically speaking, like, EA can say, well, if you want to upgrade your favorites, then yeah, you got to pay for that. I understand that. I just think that the Evos just have to match the price to me. If it's free, that's great. It doesn't need to be a crazy evolution. Like the ones we saw and have seen so far, some of those ones where you give your player a +1 shooting up to 82 or 83 or whatever. You can do it a few times. That's okay to me. That's okay. And those to me should be free. And that center mid one, I think, isn't even that bad. It's like, what, 20K, and it's actually a pretty decent card. The price just has to match the value to me. If you want to make a paid evolution and make it crazy good, okay, as long as it matches the value, it's okay to me. Now, I understand you might say it's a slippery slope because we used to have all free Evos. Now we don't anymore. Not even close to that. I get that part too, but we just have to kind of, I guess, go with, like, EA, we're never gonna not do a bunch of paid Evos this year and do over-the-top free ones, considering how popular evolutions are. Like, they actually make a lot of money on evolutions, honestly. So, to me, that's okay. Just make it worth it, right? That's the biggest thing for me. But okay, that's it for me. Thank you all. I love you, and I will see you guys.